Explain. Let me know when it's past the 5 minute mark.
Okay.
All right, guys, how you doing? The first arena video. They don't have to see the whole thing.
Okay.
The first arena video. It took me a long time to finally compile it. I had it on my computer, just didn't have time to put it into the board and go into the in-depth analysis. All right, you guys voted for chest. Arnold Schwarzennegger's chest versus Ronnie Coleman's chest, right? Which are obviously the two best chests in bodybuilding history. I would say the top 5 is Ronnie's probably like number 4, but in any order, Arnold, Ronnie, Johnny Jackson, Berto Fox, and number 5 floats around between Schwarzennegger, and a bunch of other guys. But Arnold and Ronnie are definitely in the top 3. So anyway, you guys wanted to see what they have in common. Now, once again, before I even begin, remember, these guys were enhanced, right?
Hold on, baby.
Arnold was not on as many stuff that, as Ronnie, but, back in the Arnold era, it was mainly testosterone derivatives, right? Mainly Dianabol and things like that. Ronnie's era, you guys know, insulin came in, SGH came in. So you gotta understand these guys are both on the juice. So you can't really take everything that you see here and copy and paste it into your routine. But some things apply to natties as well as enhanced athletes, and you're about to see that in a minute. Second thing to take into consideration is, I'm gonna do the natty guys separately. In fact, I got a lot of suggestions to do arena videos with natties and non-natties. I'm trying not to do that as much because, once again, either compare natural lifters or 100% enhanced lifters. You can't really mix an enhanced and natty guy unless you're comparing something different. So anyway, let's look at rep sets, number of exercises, frequency, how many times per week they train, techniques, whether they go to failure or not, pump or not, pump training, whether they go really heavy, free weights versus machines, negatives, tempo, like how fast they lift, the top 3 exercises that they actually use in their chest routine. This is based on the chest routine, right? Not overall philosophy. Whether they do high volume or not, and their total reps. And at the end, I might just show you guys their workouts so you can see the similarities. Once again, the purpose of all this is to simply see similarities between the champions, right? You want to see similarities between the great chests and the great backs, and on and on and on and on. And you see what you can apply to your natty stage, if you're natty, and what you can, just flush it out. So, reps. Arnold was, everybody knows, between 6 and 20. In fact, Arnold was a really was a pump guy. If you see pump and iron, he's big about the pump. So it's not surprising to see him do it all the way up to 20 reps. But he also went heavy occasionally. He, just like any other person who's been bodybuilding for a long time, guys, you cannot stick to the same rep range your whole life. You gotta either go up or down, on and on. You gotta periodize that shit, right? You can't just do heavy all the fucking time, and you can't do high reps all the fucking time. You gotta keep things moving. So Arnold was between the 6 and 20 rep range. If you average it out, that's about the 15 rep range, right? He's about 15 to 16 reps in most of his workouts. And he was really consistent with that. I only put the stuff that they were consistent in because they all change their routines, occasionally. I just want to focus on what they were consistent on. So between 6 to 20 rep range, mainly around 15. Ronnie was between the 12 to 20 rep range. A lot of people have this misconception about Ronnie that he's always doing heavy weights. I studied Ronnie extensively because I was a big Ronnie fan. Not just the interviews, but the videos, his seminars, things like that. He said he rarely went below 10 reps unless he was doing deadlifts, because obviously you don't want to do high reps on deadlifts. And he was even quoted in saying, the only exercise I don't do mega high reps on is deadlift, meaning for every other exercise he does mega high reps. And because he was a big believer of the pump, obviously. So 12 to 20 rep range for Ronnie, average about 12, right? It's only in the videos that you see him go really heavy. To impress, obviously, the people watching. But he was honest in saying he stays in the high rep range. So that's one thing they have in common. They lift above the 10 rep range. A lot of people gonna say, "Oh, that's only for enhanced athletes." No, wrong. That's even for natty guys, right? You can't stay below the 10 rep range your whole fucking life and expect to see growth, right? My favorite rep range is 6 to 8, but sometimes I even drops at it. So I'll do my 6 to 8, then I drops it and do another 6 to 8, another 6 to 8. This way, I'm still doing heavy enough to do 6 to 8, but at the same time, I'm doing more time on the tension. So next one is that sets, right? Arnold will do about 5 sets for his chest. Ronnie will do about 4 sets for his chest, right? And before we even keep going further, you guys know Arnold had the better looking chest. I don't care. I'm a big Ronnie fan. I'm not a big Arnold fan, right? I'm a big Ronnie fan, but I gotta admit, guys, for not only for his era and the amount of steroids that they had back then, which is a lot less than what they have now, Arnold's chest was amazing, guys. It was amazing. I'm baking bread, so. Yeah, so, and he did 5 sets per exercise for his chest. That's not 5 total sets, guys. That's about 5 sets per exercise. Starting with the warm-up, obviously. Ronnie did about 4, so you see this in common that they don't do below 4. Number of exercises, Arnold did about 5. I'm going to show you guys in a minute. Ronnie did about 4, so once again you see that they're doing around 4 exercises body part, 4 sets. Basic shit, right? Counting warm-up. Frequency, now this is the biggest difference, right? And you can also learn something. You guys know I'm big on high frequency training, nucleus overload, overtraining, whatever you want to fucking call it, right? And I explain how it's basic one-on-one adaptation, right? Your body is gonna grow to something you do once a week, but it's gonna grow even faster if you do it 2-3 times a week, sometimes 4 times a week. That's how the everyday thing came about. It's basic evolution, basic adaptation, right? Arnold did it 3 times a week. Back then, it wasn't just Arnold. All the natty guys, all the guys that were on steroids, all the old school bodybuilders that had these phenomenal chests. In fact, they had better chests back then than we have now. And one of the reasons is they train the chest 3 times a week. We have better steroids now, we have better supplements, but it's still very hard to see the chest that these guys had back in those days today. It's almost impossible, right? And these guys were training 3 times a week. So not only they were at a disadvantage, but you could tell clearly the frequency made a big, big difference in the chest. That's why I don't understand how Arnold and all these guys who were elite bodybuilders on stuff training the chest 3 times a week, saw great development. And the average guy who has below average genetics tries to train his chest 1 time a week and want to see constant growth. Obviously going to grow, but not to the extent that somebody's going to say, oh my God, your chest is huge. My chest didn't grow till I started doing it every day. Same thing with the rest of my body. So, alright, so 3 times a week. Even Ronnie, great genetics.
Oh.
All the, what?
It's 1 minute and 42 seconds over when you wanted me to tell you.
They can watch. They like it. Ronnie, great genetics, all the gear in the fucking world, all the sensu beans mixed together in his cocktail, still had to train his chest 2 a week to see that phenomenal growth. All the other bodybuilders were doing it once a week, but they didn't have the same result he had, right? So once again, why do you think if a bodybuilder who's on stuff and enhanced has to increase, if he has to increase the frequency to see growth, why do you think that you can only train your muscle once a week and see, max out your genetic potential, very fast? And obviously you could do it eventually, but not very fast. So, once again, interpret that however you want, but you can clearly see the best chest had high frequency. I don't know a single guy in the top 5 who only trained his chest once a week in the beginning stages. Next, techniques. Arnold used pyramid sets, supersets, drop sets. Ronnie used pyramid sets, right? So they have pyramid sets in common. That's simply, you guys know what pyramid sets is. Next song, Going to Failure. I highlighted the stuff that they do have in common. You okay, baby?
Her toys aren't doing what she wants them to do.
Give me a second, baby.
Give mommy a second.
Failure. They both went to failure, obviously. Not complete Dorian Yates failure, because actually they knew the importance of recovery and they trained very frequently, but they still went to failure on the most sets. But once again, they all agree they never went to complete failure except like every now and then or the last working set. Next, they were very big on pump training, right? They were very big on feeling the muscle working, very big on feeling the pump. And that's not just a steroid thing. A lot of people say, oh, that's only if you're steroids. That's a fucking lie, guys. I know that from experience, if you cannot feel your muscle working, it's going to be very hard for you to tremendously develop that muscle. You're still going to see growth in the initial stages of development, but you're not going to see long-term growth unless you know how to activate the muscle. Right? So I'm not saying the pump is the most important thing, because you still got to lift heavy, progressive overload, all these things are very important. But you still got, if you're working out for like an hour and you go home and you still don't even feel that tightness, first of all, that sucks ass, right? Because it's a great feeling. And second, something is wrong, right? The only muscle that I cannot seem to grow, well, the 2 muscles I can't seem to grow are my calves and my traps. And they're coincidentally the 2 muscles that I just don't feel the pumping, right? So I got to work, I got to find ways to increase the pump in that area. And I made a video about how to do that. But and the muscle that I get a really good pumping from the very first set are my most dominant muscles. So once again, it's not a coincidence. It's not just me. It's the same thing for a lot of people. Next, they both believe they're going heavy, but once again, around the 10 to 12 rep range. Occasionally they did power sets, but that was very, very rare. You would never see a bodybuilder, an elite bodybuilder, natty or enhanced, lifting in the 5 and under rep range for his whole career. If they do go really heavy, it's only during certain periods of time to increase their strength. And after that, they go right back to the hypertrophy range. This is a fact, guys. Nobody's gonna argue with this, right? Under 5 rep range, not only you can't get enough volume in, it's too much geared towards strength training. And I already made a video showing you guys the difference between strength training and hypertrophy. It's not entirely the same. You could be a really strong motherfucker with a bird chest. At the same time, you can have the biggest arms in the gym and not be able to curl 135 pounds. So watch my video called Stronger Does Not Always Mean Bigger. Next, Freeway versus machines. They were very big on free weights. Every now and then they did cable crossovers and things like that. but these guys built their chest
10
on
minutes.
free weights. 9 minutes? Okay.
10.
10? God damn. These guys built their chest primarily on free weights, right? And that's the difference between the chest back then and the chest today. Back then, it was almost extensively free weights. Now, we got a bunch of things going on. I'm not saying machines are bad, but once again, I just want to show you guys that, the best chests obviously use free weights. Machines every now and then. I use the pec deck sometimes. I get a better pump in it. Next, negatives. Negatives that did not focus on negatives, right? That whole during years is very slow shit. I tried it. Yes, you get sore the next day. You stronger on it, but as far as hypertrophy, I didn't really have good results with doing negatives. And as you can see, neither of them actually focus on negatives. In fact, negatives are bad for glucose transporters. In fact, meaning it's gonna be hard for you to get glucose in your muscles if you're doing negatives all the fucking time, because they damage the muscle too much. Especially if you're doing the everyday thing or you're doing high frequency training, stay away from too many negatives. It destroys androgen receptors, destroys glucose transporters. It has its benefits, but I won't focus on it, right? I use negatives every now and then. Next, tempo. Arnold went really fast, explosive reps. Ronnie went really fast, explosive reps. Once again, that's the opposite of the whole negative thing. So really fast, explosive lifting, fast twitch style. The top 3 exercises for Arnold's chest were bench presses, dips, and flies. Basic. Ronnie was bench presses, flies, dumbbell bench. So the 2 things they have in common is bench and flies. You cannot go wrong with bench and flies. A lot of people underestimate flies. Next, volume, high volume. Yes, they had high volume training in common. Arnold did his chest, about 25 sets for his chest. Ronnie about 16 sets. If you average that, it's 25 plus 16. 25 plus 15 is 40. So that's 41 divided by 2. About 20 sets per workout if you average that. So they did high volume training. Arnold's volume was way higher than Ronnie's, right? Way higher, because Arnold did 25 sets per workout 3 times a week. That's 25 times 3. That's 75 sets a week. Ronnie did 16 sets twice a week. That's about 32 sets. So clearly you see more frequency, more volume on Arnold's part, yet a bigger chest in spite of having less steroids than Ronnie. But total reps 375 for Arnold, total reps 192 for Ronnie. So once again, you see clearly the reason why Arnold's chest was way bigger than Ronnie is more volume, more frequency, more reps. And it could be due to other things. But don't say genetics, because Arnold was not genetically gifted in the chest department. If you watch Arnold's first bodybuilding shows, his chest was not really that great. And he was already at like around his 20s, even when he was 16 or whatever. In fact, Serge Nubret's chest was way better than Arnold back when Arnold started bodybuilding. So you can't really say genetics, because if you have a genetic strong point, that shit really blows up early. Next, the exercises, barbell bench press. It's a basic Arnold workout. Bench press, incline bench press, flies, dips, pullovers, right? Ronnie was barbell bench, incline barbell bench, decline bench, flies. Basic workout, right? What they have in common is basically bench and flies. Alright guys, that's it. One thing to get out of this is you want your chest to grow high fucking frequency, right? That's natty or enhanced. I don't care what the fuck you are. High frequency, focus on free weights, chase the pump occasionally, fast tempo, fuck that slow shit unless you're really trying to, I don't know. High volume. And everyone I know who does high volume, free weights, fast tempo, chases the pump, lifts heavy occasionally, has a great chest. So you can't really go wrong with that, right? If you're trying to bring your chest up, try following this advice. Stay tuned for the next arena videos. Comment below. Let me know who you want next. Only the best of the best, right? If you want a back edition, let me know. Don't just put the person's name. Let me know what muscle you want me to compare. On and on. Comment below. Get your fucking t-shirt, suit up. I'm out of here. You want to add something?
Hi.
Yo, come on, son. Anyway, so I was like, yo, Hanzo, let's make a video and show them how we came up with these insiders. And we spent like the last 10 minutes laughing. The first one is you have to chill.